Welcome, everyone, to the Week 14 series of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you had not had the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at JustSayingNoGWJS for article and video updates on Instagram. Sunday continues in the late afternoon and night. Should be some great matchups. We're going to take the Jets going on into Seattle. What do you got for us on that one? A little Jamal Adams revenge game against his former team. What are we thinking with this one?
Yeah, the Week 14 revenge game trend continues, it looks like. I'm loving it. I mean, Jamal Adams, 8 games this year, missed a couple of games due to injury, but wow, we talked about it last week, 7.5 sacks. I'm sure he is going to be blitzing from the box this week. It's what I call this game just a tale of two cities. It's just, Seattle right now, fourth highest scoring offense, almost 30. The Jets, they're scoring half in, the worst in the league, 15 per game. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to put Seattle off the bat. I think that it's going to be a tough one to defend DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I definitely also think that the Jets stay winless. And like you said, Jamal Adams, 7.5 sacks. I think he's going to get a sack in this game. I don't think he's going to get a turnover in this game. He played against his team for so long. He said that he doesn't hate Adam Gase, but I definitely believe that there is some animosity, and I just think that he's going to be playing angry, and it's going to make this defense play a little bit better. And then, like you said, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, there's really no one on this defense that could slow them down. So you just got to trust the Seahawks are going to get a huge win. Also, if you're the Jets right now, you want that first pick. You want Trevor Lawrence. So you'll take an L again. You don't need to be tied for the second pick or tied for the first pick with Jacksonville. Just tank for Trevor. It's fine.
Yeah, Trevor, Eli, Manning, and Lawrence. Nothing's going to happen there. But I mean, DK's leading the league right now. I'm thinking I think he gets over 150 in this game. We've seen him do it against way better defenses this year. And I'm just what I expect only from the Jets team, honestly, is the fact that when Sam Darnold plays, Jamison Crowder is a starting wide receiver. He gets 10 targets. He catches 8 of them. He takes them all for more than 10 yards. He always gets a touchdown. Sometimes, this season, not too many touchdowns for the Jets, but I'll tell you, when Sam Darnold's on the field, he's the one dangerous guy, I think, on this entire team.
Yeah, it's that, and that's not really saying much for this season. I just the Seahawks are too good of a team. They just took a surprise loss last week at home to the Giants. I don't see them dropping 2, especially after the Rams just got a pretty big statement win over the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. You want to stay in the top of this NFC West. You want to be in one of the top spots in the playoffs. You got to win a game like this against the Jets. And Russell Wilson will get it done.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks are looking for that playoff spot. In the AFC, there's 2 teams just really looking for playoff spots. We were talking about the Titans before. They're trying to stay ahead of the AFC South. The Raiders are hosting the Colts this week. The Raiders understand that they probably are not going to get there. They're going to have to go through the wild card. And Indianapolis is looking the same way right now. But Vegas beat the Jets last week, and I've been saying all the time, they play to the standard of the team they're playing against. And Indianapolis is a good team. Are we expecting a good Derek Carr game or no?
I expect a pretty decent Derek Carr game, and I just think it's because it looks like they may be without Josh Jacobs again, so you're going to have to rely on your quarterback, going to have to rely on Devontae Booker, who's just not the same playmaker that Josh Jacobs is. So it's going to require Derek Carr to step up. I mean, he stepped up in a big way last week, was able to get the game-winning touchdown against the Jets. Yeah. You didn't expect it to go down to the wire like that, and you don't want it to go down the wire like that if you're John Gruden. The thing that has me worried about the most right now with this team is that last week the Raiders gave up 206 yards to the Jets. This is a great offensive line. This is a really good running back by committee, whether it's Taylor, Hines, or Wilkins. They can really do a lot with it, and I would try to take advantage of that as best as I can.
Yeah, oh my God. I mean, it looked pretty crazy last week that the Jets were able to get the ball rolling that way. One guy I just want to mention and apologize to, honestly, is T.Y. Hilton, because this year I have been saying that, he was not going to get it over 82. He hasn't had a touchdown in a very long time. And then he got one, and he got 81 yards. And then last week, he must have heard me because he had 8 for 110 and another touchdown. And he's looking like him and Michael Pittman are a pretty good combo.
Yeah, look, T.Y. Hilton last 2 games has decided I am again the T.Y. Hilton of old. I love to see that. I'm happy that him and Phillip Rivers have this rapport now building. You're right. Michael Pittman's been a bright spot. It seems like they've had good young wide receivers there. We've seen Mo Alley Cox, we've seen Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman. I'm happy that Pittman is now kind of stepping into that wide receiver 2 role. It'll be really, really interesting to see how they continue going as the season progresses. Will he continue to have a pretty solid second half to his rookie season, or were they more just like little spots, little bright spots, but it's going to slowly fade out? It'll be really interesting. I'm going to take the Colts on this one. And at the running ability, a great defense, and what has seemed to be an improved passing offense from them is going to be enough to get a win in Las Vegas over the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm actually I wanted Indianapolis. I think that they're the better team, but I honestly am. I just saw what Derek Carr was able to do with Darren Waller last week. 13 catches, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's exactly what I wanted as a Darren Waller fantasy owner. Needs to get in the play. That is what you want. 45. This guy is a beast. He is a monster. People need to defend him. Darius Leonard is one of the best linebacking cover linebackers.
Don't sleep on Leonard.
I'm not sleeping.
He made Aaron Rodgers regret it when Rodgers said Fred Warner's the best linebacker in the league.
And here we are. There's evidence of it. It's like you can just see that this Indianapolis Colts team is good. But I think that the Raiders at home, the way they prepared for games, we saw them play bad against the Jets, who are bad. We saw them play great against Kansas City, who is great. And Indianapolis is a good team. I think Derek Carr gets it done, and him and Waller get it done once again. I would love to see a big play from Ruggs. Oh, my God. We've been waiting for a big play like we saw last week on that last play. Fantastic. Of course, it was zero cover, blitz, but, geez, cover 0. You can't do that on a Hail Mary with a guy who runs a 4.2 40 on you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Raiders this week in a shocking twist.
All right. I like it. Moving on, we got an NFC matchup with the New Orleans Saints heading off to Philly to face the Eagles. Carson Wentz was benched. He is no longer currently the starting quarterback of the Eagles. Rookie second-rounder Jalen Hurts will be stepping in for his first career NFL start. Just got his first touchdown last week. What do you got for us about this one?
I mean, it's the holiday season, right? So you get Elf on the shelf, and then you get Wentz on the bench. But, it's just a tough – I'm actually pretty scared as a Giants fan because I have watched Jalen Hurts since, his freshman year at Alabama, and then, what he was able to do in Oklahoma, the way that he's had this mentality of understanding that sometimes you're on the bench and sometimes you're not. And now he gets this opportunity. When he gets this opportunity, it's pretty scary. However, I hate the matchup though.
No, I know, right? It's like, of course he gets to start against the Saints, whose defense the last 6 weeks have just been spectacular. And no Breeze, they're still playing well on offense. I think that the Eagles are going to lose this one. I just think the Saints are too good. However, if I'm an Eagles fan, if I'm part of the coaching staff, if I'm part of that front office, Hurts just show me that you can move the ball. I genuinely believe. After the performance that he put together last week against the Packers, again, it came in the second half after Wentz got benched. A little bit different feeling, and he was able to get a big touchdown on fourth down. Just move the ball. Move the ball a little bit. If you're just able to do that, I genuinely think that this Eagles team and the Eagle fan base will just feel like, oh, thank God, at least we have someone that can move the ball. Because it's been hard with Wentz. He's not making passes. He's not really rolling out the way. He's not as mobile after all these injuries that we've seen. And, I think this could be a really fun run quarterback game for both teams because Hurts is super athletic and Taysom Hill is the new age Tim Tebow and for the Saints right now. So, it will be a fun game, but I just don't see the Eagles winning it. But hopefully there's a bright spot, which is that Hurts can move the ball.
Yeah, no. It's looking like Tebow Hill is actually the quarter. He looks like a real quarterback. He's been throwing the ball well. He had a couple passing touchdowns last week. Michael Thomas finding the ball. I'm kind of excited to see how hard these Saints team can really just take it this week. They got to go to Philly, but I think they're prepared. They haven't really lost a step, and this defense. Oh my God! Passing per game fourth,
They're so good.
defensive rush yard second. They're allowing the fourth least amount of points per game while scoring the fifth most. Like, this New Orleans team is balanced. It is good. I love the defense, and New Orleans, they know what they have to do. They need to secure that NFC first seed, and
Yeah,
I think they go and do it.
Sean Payton knows it. Sean Payton will get it done in Philly. Who's going to get more rushing yards, Taysom Hill or Jalen Hurts?
Ooh, it's an interesting line there, but I'm going to go with Taysom Hill. I think that only because we've seen some designed runs for Jalen Hurts this year, but we have seen a large sample of designed runs for Taysom Hill. By golly, he runs the ball, he gets the direct snap, and he runs the wildcat, or he just runs a regular play. But I think that the way it's designed and the way that the amount of rushes he's accumulated over the last couple of weeks as the starter. And then I think it's just New Orleans' game this week.
I get it. You gotta trust what you've seen from Hill. I think that Hurts is gonna surprise him. He's gonna get more rushing yards. I feel like there's gonna be kind of a back to the 2017, 2018 Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of RPOs. I feel like are gonna be in this game. We're gonna go back to the Doug Peterson Super Bowl winning offense that loves the RPOs, and now you have a quarterback who has running back kind of size to him to be able to do this. It'll be nice. So I'll trust Hurts, but still think the Saints are going to get the win. Moving on, we got the Washington football team who just got a massive win against the Steelers. I mean, that interception at the end, honestly, I was watching the end of that game and I was like, ew, Roethlisberger with the ball? Come on, he's going to drive down there. And then boom, first play, interception. I was like, okay, Washington.
I know.
They're heading off to San Francisco. They are playing the 49ers. What are you thinking about this game? What are we feeling?
I just couldn't believe I was sitting there on a Monday afternoon watching the Steelers play, and Alex Smith is, as we said, comeback
player of the year.
But the fact that, he's able to – he just won a game against an undefeated team this late in the season it's just incredibly impressive. I understand that, Joe Haden was out, but wow, Sims last week really stepped up. They were really just trying to move the ball as much as they could and make any short play, have big play potential. Like we just saw them take 5-yard slants for 40-yard gains. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that against San Francisco this week. I think San Francisco, they study the tape. They have good schemes. They game plan week by week, and Antonio Gibson is out.
Yeah, I mean, no Antonio Gibson, who's just been having such a good season. He has turf toe, not the injury that you want to see. They say in the season, it's going to mean every single week he's going to be questionable. We really, really won't get an idea about whether or not he's playing until the Wednesday or Thursday injury report comes in. Was he limited? Did not participate? Was he full? It was going to be really, really important going in. What sucks is that you'd say, just deactivate him. They got a chance to make the playoffs. They got a chance to be right in it. There's no reason to deactivate him just yet with this opportunity. But I did feel like once he went down, this team really did become one-dimensional. They relied heavily on Alex Smith in this past game. Looking at Logan Thomas, who had a great game, 9 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown, and Cam Sims 5 for 92. And then they look for J.D. McKissick coming out of the backfield. So I think that they're going to be hyper-reliant on the passing game. We've seen the 49ers do well some games and then do pretty poorly other games. I think you're right. I think this is a game for them to do really, really well. There aren't a lot of playmakers for Washington, with the exception of Terry McLaurin, who's been a little bit quiet the past couple weeks, and I expect him to now have a big game against the 49ers. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Last year, when these two teams face off, it was that rain bowl going on in Washington, and the 49ers won 9-0. But then again, they had Joey Bosa, Solomon Thomas, all these other playmakers. I'm going to lean towards the 49ers. I feel like you're right. I feel like they can scheme together a win here, whether it's through their running backs or through Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Washington has a solid defense, but that offense, I think, just became a lot more manageable for defenses because of the Antonio Gibson injury.
Yeah, I just love Fred Warner. I think that it's just there's a dominant fronts on both sides, and we really just saw them take it to 100 last week with that. They were able to just attack Ben Roethlisberger. I think that they're going like Washington's going to do the same thing with Nick Mullins, but when you look at San Francisco, their weapons, Arik Armstead is going to give Alex Smith a really tough time. And then you got Fred Warner, you got Richard Sherman back on Terry. He's Richard Sherman, despite his age or whatever people said he was injured. Like he's been looking good the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one.
Yeah, again, it's just a scheme. It just seems that they can do it, and that injury to Gibson, that's big this late in the game, this late in the season. It's just makes them and just to sort of highlight it, what we saw last week is he had his first run went for 13 yards, and the second run was the injury only went for 1 yard. But then Peyton Barber received 14 carries, only 23 yards. J.D. McKissick had 5 carries, only 8 yards. I mean, I know it was against the Steelers, but clearly Gibson provides more, even off of his 2 carries. He's at higher than yards than McKissick, who had 5, and he's more than half of what Peyton Barber had, who had 12 more carries. So clearly missing him is a huge loss for this offense. I think that the 49ers are going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah. In the next game, though, big shootout. LA 3-9, Atlanta 4-8. And, last week we saw Herbert, no touchdown, no points for the Chargers last week.
Goose egg.
Killed because 45-0 to the Patriots, who, got their comeuppance from the Rams, on Thursday. But, we're looking now, Justin Herbert is going to have a big opportunity here to throw all over Atlanta. It's going to be an interesting one.
No, he definitely does. The thing that's worrying me the most if I'm Atlanta is there's no Julio Jones this week. That's Matt Ryan's guy. That's just kind of this offense's lifeblood. It just, when he's gone, Ryan takes a step back. The offense takes a step back. Calvin Ridley will do well. Hayden Hurst, you hope, is able to find some targets. Mm-hmm. But when there is no Julio, this team does not play the same offensively. And he's not in this week. And I just feel like after the game of the Chargers had, like you said, not putting up any points, now there's going to be no Julio. This is a chance for them to make Matt Ryan make mistakes and then capitalize on those mistakes with dump-off passes to Austin Eckler or bomb passes to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. This is not the week for the Falcons. I feel like the Chargers are coming into this with like a lot going on where they're like, I'm pissed about that 45-0 game that we just lost to at home. We're going to destroy the next team that walks in here, and it's the Falcons with no Julio.
Yeah, I think so. I think LA takes this. It's tough, like you said. When Julio's there, he is the bright spot. He's the guy. He takes 2 people off of Calvin Ridley. Now Calvin will probably see double coverage this whole game. But wow, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry's been disappointing the last couple weeks, but I can see a big game from him. Even the other tight end on Atlanta, Hayden Hurst. But this is going to be a great offensive game. But the Chargers, they're going to step up. They've been losing. They are going to get sick. They've gotten sick of it. This is the breaking point. I think that they are going to take. But,
I agree. I think the Chargers are going to get this one done. My question for you is Calvin Ridley at 905 yards. Does he get to 1,000 this week? Does he get 95 yards? Is he able to get over 95 yards to get over 1,000? What are you thinking here?
I don't know. I mean, the Chargers defense has looked solid this year, despite the fact they've had people going in and out with injuries. But, wow, that's a good question. That's a good line for Calvin Ridley this week. If he can get – I think that he does. I think that because when he has the potential – this is the 5th best passing defense in LA, so it's something to be absolutely cautious about. But Calvin, when he does see big targets and end zone targets, we could see a huge game from him. I think so. I think we see him break it to 1,000 this week.
I can definitely see it just because he's going to be seeing, I feel like, the majority of targets. Like, I expect him to have
Yeah,
10 looks going his way. Got to capitalize on 10 looks somehow.
definitely. And
So,
he's been getting so many red zone opportunities. We always say that Julio doesn't get those, but you see a quick slant from really in the end zone, that guy scored. Aaron
oh,
scored
yeah,
him.
every time. It's impressive. Moving on, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Aaron Rodgers is having an MVP caliber season.
Yeah,
What are we thinking
Detroit
about
got
this
that
game?
win last week.
What was
Yeah,
that?
Detroit got the win last week, and it
Yeah,
was
that was
weird. We were
surprising.
talking about Romeo Cannell. We're like, what are they going to do? They just let Matt Stafford do whatever he wanted last week. You saw him calling plays at the line. But, oh, Lord. Aaron Rodgers. We talk about him every week, and it's not our fault. We don't want to have to talk about him every week. It's not our
No.
fault that he's been just like him and Devontae Adams. If someone wants to tell them they got to stop going so hard, that they can. But I don't know if they're going to pick up the phone because Devontae Adams right now, tied fifth in the league. I was mentioning last show, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill both tied there as well to show you just how much volume he's getting. But 84 catches, already over 1,000 with 1,029 and 13 touchdowns. Tied with Tyreek Hill for first. Are we expecting another big Devontae Adams game? Because I'm going with the Packers, but I think, does he get 125 in this game?
God, I'm also gonna go with the Packers. I think that this is the game where Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are kind of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We saw last week, Aaron Jones had a huge touchdown run, was able to get him up over 130 yards and a touchdown. It feels like it's been quite some time, but since we've seen an Aaron Jones big game, he's had kind of a pretty injury prone season. He's missed a handful of games, so coming off of last season, you did expect him to have almost another 15 plus touchdown performance this year.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to kind of rely a little bit more on the run game this week because they can. Why drop back Aaron Rodgers and even risk a sack and an injury if you just don't have to? And they'll be able to run the ball well against a pretty weak Detroit Lions run defense. But I don't think that Adams gets 125 yards. But could I see him getting in the end zone? Absolutely. He is Rodgers' go-to touchdown threat.
Yep.
I also feel like they're on that kind of same level where if I'm Devontae Adams, I can be like, hey, man, like I want to lead the league in touchdowns. Just look for me in the red zone. I'll be open. And Aaron Rodgers will. That's his go-to guy. He's always going to be seeing a lot of the looks. I think Robert Tonyan could also have a pretty big game, and Alan Lazard, some of the other playmakers on this team that might not necessarily receive some of the looks that Devontae Adams does, as he rightfully does, as he deserves those looks. But you got to go with the Packers here. I just don't see how the Lions can slow down Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's just in the numbers as well. It's the fact that right now Detroit is the second worst in giving up points. They're giving up 29.8. It's almost 30 points a game, and the Packers are scoring 30 points a game. They're 31.6. It's best in the league, top 10 in passing and rushing. They're middle of the pack on their defense, but their defense has come up in big games. I just think that Detroit's not going to keep up, like you said.
Yeah, if you're Detroit, you're hoping that DeAndre Swift is definitely in the lineup and he's going to be looking as healthy as he was prior to the concussion illness. Peterson was saying he looked a little bit sluggish. You're hoping that's because of the illness and not because of the concussion. And maybe there's something that can happen in the run game, where Swift is able to get a big run, then Peterson can finish off in the end zone to try to keep it look like it's a game. But I really just think that the Packers are going to kind of dominate this one from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's just, it's got to be one of those things. We're Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes right now in this MVP race everybody's talking about. It's Aaron Rodgers would love to have another big game, but it is time, I think, for those running backs. And, in our next matchup, the Sunday Night Football matchup, we got two big AFC playoff teams. We got the Bills, 9-3. We got the Steelers, 11-1. Sean, last show we mentioned about Miami, how they're trying to get a win against Kansas City so that they can stay ahead. And Pittsburgh is now tied with Kansas City here for this first seed. Buffalo is right there behind them. Miami could flip this whole script last week, but these two teams both want to stay in the race. But who wins? Bills, Steelers? What do you got?
This is a tough one to me. Last year, the Bills surprised against this great defense and were able to pull off a win. However, That team did not have Ben Roethlisberger that they beat, and that's a big bonus for them. They are getting James Conner back, the Steelers. We've seen that their run game has not been great. They definitely need to find some sort of identity in their rush attack, and hopefully this week it can be James Conner, Benny Snell, and Jalen Samuels and those guys. They just had not gotten the job done in his absence. So hopefully he's able to kind of give them the edge. Right now, I'm looking at this defense of the Steelers. Still so good.
Mm-hmm.
Man. There's no Joe Haden this weekend, though. That would be the guy lining up against Stefon Diggs and covering Diggs, who's having a great season. Miss him so much. I don't know who's going to win this. Josh Allen had a hell of a game against San Francisco, 32 for 40, 375, and 4 TDs. Literally looked like he couldn't do anything wrong when he was passing the ball.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the same this week? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think that this is going to be a very pass-heavy game. I think that the Steelers and the Bills, like you mentioned with the Steelers, especially right now, just struggling in the run game. Right now, the main thing I want is for Buffalo's defense to step up so that the Steelers don't have to pass. They aren't able to pass that much, because I believe the script's going to be, whichever one of these teams scores first, the other team's going to retaliate. These are two big threats on offense. We have two quarterbacks that can put up, over 40 attempts, over 350 a week. They could put up 3 touchdowns. No, they don't turn the ball over that much. We saw Ben literally turn the ball over just from that last play last week. But I do really want to see the Steelers get this win. I like the fact that Mike Tomlin was in the locker room last week and he was saying that it was kind of like they needed to get knocked down. They needed to understand what's at stake when they lose and how they feel and how they've been all season. So I'm gonna go with them. I think that Juju taking on Tre'Davious White, I think that's a very interesting matchup. As you mentioned, Diggs is not going to have Joe Haden, so we can't really do a nice comparison of quarterbacks and wide receivers. But what do you got for us on this Buffalo offense with all these Steelers injuries?
I mean, they're electric. I think what they're going to try to do, and it's mainly because this run defense of the Steelers is so good. And similar to the Steelers, the running identity of the Bills is pretty obsolete with the exception of Josh Allen, who seems to be their best running back at times. I think that you that you have to make this one-dimensional. So that means you want Josh Allen dropping back. You want him to throw as much as you can, because they don't have the running backs to really run all over you. You have your Cam Hayward, you have your TJ Watt right in front of there to stop the run. Go after the running backs, make Josh Allen one-dimensional, make this offense one-dimensional, force him to pass the ball, and then trust that your rushers, sadly no Bud Dupree for the season out of tornado ACL, but guys like Cam Hayward and your guys like TJ Watt to really then begin to get after Josh Allen, force him out of the pocket, and force him to make some throws, because we've seen the Steelers defense when they get quarterbacks off their feet, when they have to force something. Josh Allen has had a great season, has been great on the throwing on the run, has a deep arm, but that's where Minkah Fitzpatrick thrives, is when the quarterback gets out and tries to make a pass deep down the field. Minkah Fitzpatrick is like, nope, that's mine, interception, and then sometimes a pick six. So you have to make them as one-dimensional as possible, I think, and it's going to start with stopping the run. If you're the Bills on the flip, you need to keep that playbook open against a good defense, regardless of no Jay Hayden. You don't want to become one-dimensional. Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, you gotta step up in this game. You got to be working your ass off every single play to try to find 3 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard. Like every single down, you have to win the point of contact for these running backs.
Yeah, definitely. So who you got in this up in Buffalo? It's going to be a cold one.
The cold one affect the Steelers. They're used to it in Pittsburgh. I feel like I'm gonna also take the Steelers. Like you said, with Mike Tomlin coming in saying, these are the games that are really important. Eric Ebron also echoed something similar when he came out on Instagram. Like, this is a humbling experience. Mm-hmm. I also just think that this was a really weird Steelers game that they lost in last week to
Yep.
Washington. They only put up 3 points in the second half.
They had to play Tuesday, and then they had to play
Yeah.
Monday afternoon.
I think that this is kind of a get right game, but I could also easily see this being a playoff matchup in the future. So if the Steelers win and they have to face the Bills in the playoffs, that's going to be really, really interesting. I think that will be a really, really fun matchup too in the second round of the playoffs. But I got to trust the Steelers and what that defense can do against the Bills, even though they're going to be in Buffalo.
Poor Buffalo. But I mean, that's it. We're looking for a good matchup that could potentially be an AFC playoff showdown. And
this would be a great playoff showdown. I mean, it would also. I just think like these are two of the top AFC teams.
Defenses look great.
A win on either one of these teams is a statement to the rest of the league, and the Steelers have had one of the easiest schedules in this season. I know that their record's great. I don't want to take away from what they've done, but they have faced a lot of teams without winning records, and they've faced a lot of teams that have had weird things going on throughout the season. So you need a win against the Bills right now. I feel like to also kind of show after a loss to Washington, like we're legit.
Yep.
Despite the relatively easy schedule of the season, they actually came out prior to the season. They had the 30th ranked schedule. It was one of the easiest ranked schedules before the season. So you're happy that you're sitting at 11-1. You need a statement win over the Bills, though. They're going to be in the playoffs for sure. They could potentially win the AFC East. You may see them again. You may see the Chiefs, which is a much better team. You need to get a win against one of the best AFC teams. You have to if you're the Steelers. If you drop 2 and the Steelers the Chiefs do beat the Dolphins, you're out of that first spot. And I would not want to be the team that needs to go to Kansas City, despite the no fans allowed because of COVID. Just it's you don't want to give Kansas City home field advantage. You just don't want them to even know the field really.
Yeah, absolutely. But wow, what a weekend of games.
Yeah, that is all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope that you enjoy the Sunday late afternoon games and the Sunday night football matchup. It's going to be some great ones.
Yeah. Oh, my God. What a weekend we got. First round of fantasy playoffs. Everybody make sure to set your lineups and have a good weekend. Enjoy it. Just check us out. Just Saying Football on YouTube, justsayingfootball.com, and Just Saying No G WJS on Instagram for all your video updates.
Thank you.